everyone. I'm MB Dallocchio, and pardon me with the frizzy quarantine here. I'm here in London and just want to introduce myself. So I'm Michelle, but I go by MB Dallocchio on most of my social media. I served in the Army for 8 years as a medic and a mental health sergeant, and I also served on Team Lioness in Ramadi, Iraq from 2004 to 2005. So question number 2, pretty much one of the standard questions that I got regarding Veteran Art Studio is, who is this for? So albeit the title says Veteran Art Studio, but the series, of course, is aimed at veterans and people who are providing support to veterans, but it's pretty much for anybody who is interested in post-traumatic growth of the arts, and anybody's welcome, really. So another question was, why Veteran Art Studio? Well, I've been using art both personally and professionally for years to deal with my own trauma recovery. And I just wish that there were more resources available, whether in person, and of course, while I'm recording this in quarantine, I wish that there were more resources online. So considering my background, I figured, why not help out? There aren't many resources around the country for creative therapies or workshops, and considering I'm recording this during coronavirus lockdown, it narrows that accessibility even more. In short, I don't want to be the only one doing this, and I encourage other artists, regardless of veteran status, to pretty much do the same. Art has helped me in so many ways, and it's allowed me to help others manage their stress and symptoms as well. Question number 4. Oh, this is a good one. It says, so you're an LMSW. Is this therapy? Short answer, no. Unabridged version, I'm a licensed social worker, but this is not therapy. I'm merely a person who is an artist and happens to be a social worker who is sharing what's helped me in my own journey and ongoing healing. So by all means, please consult with a clinician who can provide individual or group therapy. And I haven't done individual counseling in years and don't plan on starting that up again soon. Also, there's going to be some profanity in Veteran Art Studio, so no, this is not therapy, and please read the disclaimer in the description. So question number 5, are you sponsored or paid for Veteran Art Studio? No, I'm not paid for Veteran Art Studio, but I did have a 3-day fundraiser in late summer, and that was pretty much to fundraise for the gear and to go off to a conference for additional training on creative art therapies and interventions. And yeah, no, I'm pretty much doing this because I have time during quarantine, and I know a lot of people are hurting. I wish I was paid though, but that's all right. So question number 6, fall 2019, how did Veteran Art Studio come about? So having a background in both art and mental health, Veteran Art Studio kind of made sense. And 2019 was a pretty rough year, and it really served as a catalyst for Veteran Art Studio, for better or for worse. But we'll talk about that in a second. In the beginning of 2019, I lost a lot of faith in veteran organizations and shitty leadership, fragile egos, and toxic behavior. I got to see the real-life version of Mean Girls Veteran Edition and was essentially Regina Georged all the way back to therapy. The whole experience that I had in 2019 had triggered a lot of pain and memories that I had from my last few years in the military. And it really dealt with a lot of the toxic leadership and malignant narcissism that I had experienced from really, really shitty leaders. And going back to therapy made sense. And even though it was a really rough year, it really was a catalyst in a way for not only getting over that creative slump that I was experiencing for years, but I also needed to face a lot of the healing that I had been putting off for years because I had been busy helping other people. I had been working in social work, I'd been working in the nonprofit sector, working on the federal side, and I thought I had given myself enough time to heal, enough space to heal, but apparently I didn't.
I also had a lot of conversations with other trauma survivors, both veterans and non-veterans, about how bad leaders, whether in veterans orgs, nonprofits, or workplaces in general, have really made it so much tougher to heal as they're rarely held accountable.
Now, in turn, I got the idea to take a lot of the creative methods that I had used both in my personal life and professional life and apply what I had used as an artistic psychosocial rehabilitation specialist and just make a lot of these different resources available online. And yeah, it just made sense.
As soon as I got the basic idea started, we got news that we were relocating to the UK. So there were a few stop-start moments in creating this, and our move dates kept changing. Finally, we were due to be in London in mid-March, and then boom.
So the travel ban to and from the US and Europe was announced, and we raced to LAX. And since we were living in LA at the time, we changed our tickets and flew out of there earlier than planned. And now as I'm answering this question, we're in the middle of a COVID-19 lockdown, and people are understandably scared and hurting and living with a lot of uncertainty. And I mean, I do enough shit posting on my own social media and what I think, my opinions, and just pretty much talking about all the negative shit that's happening in our world. But I decided to do something a little different. Do something a little different and just bring something positive to the table. And if people find it useful, great. And if not, then people can just click past it.
While 95% of my art supplies are in a moving container passing through the Panama Canal as we speak, it made sense now more than ever to get going on a veteran art studio, even with bare bones supplies.
Because you really don't need anything fancy to get creative. And this is why we're going to be using pretty much bare minimum kind of stuff. If you have something to write with, piece of paper, I don't care what it is. You can get creative. You can cut up magazines. You can cut up whatever is available to you that you can actually make some kind of mixed media with. But we're going to try some different methods and see what works for you and what resources that you have. And all of it's going to be pretty cost-effective resource that you can use in your own home. So pretty much going down to either pen, pencil, whatever you have to write with, color with, anything, and paper. So question 7, what kinds of lessons are available on Veteran Art Studio? So Veteran Art Studio won't just be a series of art demonstrations or me art flexing. We're going to go over how to get over creative blocks, answering any questions that you might have, and figuring out what your artistic style is, and more.
There are tons of cool YouTube tutorials on everything from sketching to abstract art to you name it. And I'll definitely share my favorites, but I'm going to keep the topics and demos quite diverse so you can gain insight as to how art is a process and a tool for managing stress.
So question number 8, how is Veteran Art Studio structured? So this is pretty much an at your own pace kind of series, so you can pick and choose topics that you see fit, whatever applies to you, whatever you're interested in, or you can follow along the whole way.
All of this can be done at home or on the go, and as you'll notice throughout the series, many of these techniques are inexpensive and accessible.
So in each episode, we're going to go over what's going to be covered in the actual episode, a demonstration of what we're going to be talking about, additional resources, and kind of a light question close.
When dealing with sensitive topics or anything that could potentially trigger trauma, I certainly encourage you to close out with the light question to remove yourself from what I like to call the fog, with questions like, what's one person from history you'd like to have dinner with? Or what's your dream vacation? And so on.
So when it comes to this series as a whole, you can either join me in actually making art or doing some of the different exercises I'm going to be proposing, or you can simply listen to me ramble on and on about happy clouds and shit. Either way, have fun. That's all that matters. So those were the top questions for Veteran Art Studio, and you can join me and Dallocchio as I demonstrate different art techniques and share with you with what I've discovered along the way in my own journey regarding visual art to memoir writing and how it can be used for stress reduction, relaxation, and boosting your creativity. And whether you're a veteran with zero experience in art or somebody who is actually an experienced artist or somebody working with veterans or just somebody who's just curious about post-traumatic growth and the arts, feel free to join me and I'll see you soon in the studio. Thanks.